I'm relying on you guys to keep me motivated. No pressure. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. And friends, this might be the shortest writing vlog you ever get because it is now Tuesday, and as I have mentioned before, I like to film these from Thursdays to Wednesdays. I am on vacation right now in Nashville, and it's not a normal vacation. My partner has a company conference that he's attending, and I am just tagging along. But part of the stipulations for him is that he can't actually leave the resort that we're staying at. And I'm not really interested in going around Nashville by myself. So I am just kind of milling around the resort. All that to say, I am trying to get some work done. But yesterday when we arrived, it was his only day where he didn't have any company events to attend. And so we really just spent that whole day enjoying ourselves. And so I didn't really get anything done. I did one scene, finished outlining one scene, and that's it. But I am now just about to get started on some serious writing. I'm going to try and get it finished tonight, actually. My goal is to finish the detailed scene outline, the worksheets tonight. I have just started Act 4 of the 6-act structure, so I'm pretty close to the end. And then my goal, if I do finish, is to just make sure that everything is in order and then take a break with the intention of starting the actual drafting process probably on Monday when I get back to real life. And the reason for that is I want some time to kind of sit with the completed outline to make sure that I feel really confident in it and kind of clear my head and actually start mentally preparing myself for the drafting process. I've talked about this before, but drafting is probably my least favorite part of writing. And I know that sounds horrible, but it isn't as fun for me. It can feel almost like just pulling myself apart. It takes so much extra energy than any other part of the writing process. And there are times that I do like it. I'm not gonna lie, but it's just hard for me. I don't know why that is, because I used to just write and write and write and write and write. But for something about original fiction, maybe it's because it is just purely coming from inside myself and not being based on some other person's creation. But it is so like rending. Like it really is like a part of my essence leaving my body, I guess. So I really do feel like I need to mentally prepare myself, not just for that aspect of it, but for the fact that it is much more time and labor intensive than anything I've done thus far. With the world building and the outlining, it was something that I could just pick up and fill it like and do in my time in the creases where I'm not doing something else. I'll just pick it up and jot down a few words. With actually drafting, I feel like I have to make that time mean something more. Again, probably because of the way I feel about drafting, it isn't something I can just jot down 100 words here and there. It has to be something that has meaning and purpose and that I feel confident about. So I need some time to kind of mentally prepare myself for that and the extra labor that I will be doing. But with it coming so close, I have made some decisions. I have talked about a little bit before that I wasn't sure if I wanted to draft this longhand or on my computer. And I have decided that as much as I love drafting longhand, as much as I find it creatively stimulating and purposeful to me, I am going to draft digitally. It's just drafting longhand is so time consuming. It takes probably 3 times as long, not just because physically writing takes longer than typing, but also you eventually have to transcribe that all into a computer anyway, and that takes time. I have found a cloud-based word processor that I really like. It's called Dabble. Dabble Write, I think, is the website, and it's cloud-based, so I don't have to always be at the same computer. As much as I love Scrivener, and I really do, So that's what I've decided. That's number one. The second thing I've decided is my timeline. I'm going to start drafting on September 30th, and my goal is to be done by the end of the year. That gives me 3 months, which is not a ton of time. My goal is 90,000 words, so roughly that means 1,000 words a day. That is slightly less than what I was doing when I was writing semi-professionally, when I had to produce 40,000 words in a month. It's certainly less than a nano pace, which is exhausting but doable. It is more than I am probably super comfortable with. So my grace period is January. If I don't have it done by the end of the month, by the end of the year, I'm going to give myself the grace mentally to wrap it up in January. But January is the hard deadline for me. And I know by already giving myself a built-in excuse, it'll make it easier to not finish. But I also recognize that we've got the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's also my busiest time of the year at work. The winter months are very, very busy for me, and I do anticipate coming home some days and just being so mentally fried that I'm not going to be able to write. There's also the fact that so much else to do with like the kids extracurriculars. A lot of stuff happens right before the end of the fall term, right before Christmas break. So I recognize that this isn't the easiest time of the year to be writing a draft, but it is the time that I have come up on, and I'm not going to wait just because of that. That being said, I'm going to do my best. 1,000 words a day, even on the weekends, is a big ask, but it's not impossible. I know that it's not. And as I have said before, I think this is the most prepared I have ever been for writing a draft. I have done so much more world building. I have done 3 drafts of this outline now. It's complete, or it will be after tonight, I hope, and it's ready. I don't know that it's perfect, and I feel pretty confident that questions are going to come out of the draft and certain answers are going to come out. I'm going to see gaps that I can't possibly see in the outline, and it's just going to forward me along. I'm at the point where I can't do this part anymore. I'm ready. And so even with my struggles in the past with drafting, this is the one. I know it is. And I want to thank you guys for being there along with me every step of this journey. Literally, since from the moment I have decided what project I wanted to work on, through the world building and the outlining, and now getting ready to start drafting. And there's still so much more to go. I know the first draft is not going to be good enough. And that's not indicative of me. That's just true of everyone who sits down to write. My long-term vision is 3 drafts: a thin draft, a purple draft, and then the Goldilocks draft, which I will then revise and make perfect to send to a query eventually. So assuming each draft takes 3 months. So by my birthday at the beginning of June, in theory, I should be ready to start like the actual serious revisions to make it perfect and send it on. And that is further than I would have ever gotten. That is much further than I have ever gotten in any other project before, not counting my semi-professional ones. That's really long term, but that is kind of where I'm at. And of course, I have to finish a draft first. And when I finish this draft, I'll have met my previous progress from the last time. So really, I'm not any further along now than I've ever been, but I do feel the best about it. So again, thank you to you guys for being a motivating factor, even without realizing it, and all of your comments and encouragement. It is so appreciated. But enough of that. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I haven't even finished this stupid outline yet, so I'm going to go get in that bed and I am going to finish it tonight. And I will check in with you tomorrow for some final thoughts before the draft. Hello, everyone. It is now Thursday, and you will not be surprised to learn that I haven't done nearly as much writing as I said that I would. But things have taken a turn here in Nashville, and that has motivated me more to actually get everything done before I leave. So if you haven't heard, there is a hurricane coming quite rapidly towards the Gulf Coast, and the fear is that the tropical storm winds will reach Nashville Friday evening, which was our original plan to leave. So my partner's company and American Airlines gave us the opportunity to change our flight and switch it to a day earlier so that we can try and get out ahead of the weather. So that's what we've done. We've now switched everything over to tonight. So we are now leaving tonight to try and get out ahead of this bad weather so that we're not stuck here an extra day, which was our fear. So I've got a couple more hours before our flight, and my partner still has some work events that he's trying to wrap up right now. But my goal is to finish that outline while I'm sitting here, and I'm just about to move into the fifth act of the six-act structure, which is only like 8 scenes. So I've got a couple of hours. I know I can do it, and I am super motivated to get this done because my goal was to leave Nashville with it all done. So that is my plan. I'm going to finish it up. And to be honest with you, these last several scenes, I haven't felt super desirous of going into a lot of detail on because I know that as I draft the first part, it's going to kind of color and shape how these last scenes play out. And I know that's kind of like, well, what is the point of the outline if I'm relying on the draft to determine how this goes? And I'm not really. I just don't want, I'm just not, I'm conscious of the fact that things will probably be different from what I am imagining them now. And so I'm not trying to pin myself into something specific. I want to see how the first part of the book plays out. So really I'm just expanding a little bit on my notes from the detailed scene breakdown into my worksheets and putting and expanding that a little bit in my worksheets. That's where I'm at. So my goal is absolutely to have this finished in the next couple of hours before we leave, and then take tomorrow and the rest of the weekend off as a mental reset, and then Monday start drafting. And I still don't feel completely prepared for it, possibly because of how I've been dipping in and out of working on this project over the last couple of weeks. And if I want to keep my schedule of finishing it by the end of the year, there's not going to be a chance to take a break. It's going to have to be conscious and consistent and dedicated writing. And something like that is something I have struggled with in the past. And I really don't want to fail. I really don't want to be someone who just talks about writing and never actually does it. And I know that this is my chance to prove that I can do it. I can write it. I've done so much work. We started this project in May, and it'll be October in a couple of days. So that's 5 months of prep, 5 months of buildup, and 5 months of world building, and 5 months of outlining, and 5 months of answering questions about this story idea, questions I never had thought to ask when I had worked on this project before. So yes, I am more ready now than I probably ever will be. And maybe a little bit of nervousness and fear is healthy, but I am going to need to buckle down and dig deep and establish a habit of writing every day, like not just thinking about my project and not just outlining a couple scenes, but actually writing words every single day in order to get this project finished on time. And suffice it to say, I am relying on you guys to keep me motivated. No pressure. But truly, public accountability is one of the biggest motivators for me. So I hope that you guys continue to watch and continue to support me. I hope that as I move into the draft, I feel more and more confident because that'll make me feel better. But also that you guys continue to come along and grow with me as I try and get this drafted. So that is going to wrap up this vlog. I know there wasn't really a whole lot to it, but the next time I see you will be on Monday, and we will be drafting together. So I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then. Bye.